What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another post-game show on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com and ArrowheadAddict.com. And today I am joined gosh, I can't talk. I'm joined by the Michael Darcy of KC Sports Report and Bleacher Report to break down the Kansas City Chiefs 27-24 victory over the Buffalo Bills again in the postseason. The Chiefs are heading to their sixth straight AFC Championship game, and my, what a wild finish it was in this Chiefs-Bills contest. We said in our preview, Michael, that this was going to be a close one. Again, these always are. These matchups are always very exciting, very nerve-wracking, but the Chiefs come out on top again, and they had a little bit of luck go their way in the end there, but I don't want to hear nothing from Bills fans because we really looked like we were about to run away with that game before the McCole Hardman fumble. But I'll push that till later down the line. But Michael, man, how are you feeling after that one? That's another crazy one. Feels like just yesterday we were on here doing a post-game show after 13 seconds, and this finish is right up there with 13 seconds. 13 seconds will always be the game, but man, just another crazy finish. But also, I should say, I'm drinking tonight hard Mountain Dew. Figured it was worth opening one of these up after that one. So, yeah, take it away, Michael.
Josh, it doesn't matter the year. It doesn't matter the record. It doesn't matter the location. The Kansas City Chiefs will beat the Buffalo Bills when it truly matters, and they did it again. This is the third time, I think, in the last 5 years that the Chiefs have beaten the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is 0-3 against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, and Patrick Mahomes just went on the road with the same group of wide receivers that couldn't score more than 17 points when these two teams faced off less than a month ago, and he just beat them in their house to send them home for the season. Their season's done. We're going to the AFC Championship game. It's just incredible, man. It doesn't even feel real sometimes. It just, when you have Patrick Mahomes, you're never out of any game. And yeah, times during this game, it felt like, man, it's rocky. It doesn't look great. The McCole Hardman fumble in the end zone for the touchback, we'll talk about it. But that really felt like the momentum shifter, and a Chiefs defense that really did struggle in this game to get off the football field. It just seemed like a recipe for disaster. But somehow, some way, they were able to really just fasten things down and get the job done. Bass, their kicker, missed that field goal to tie the game. Ended up being the killer of their season. But, man, it just seems like right now this Chiefs team is clicking at the right time. And next week they'll go to Baltimore to play the Ravens in the AFC Championship game. And we'll talk about that. But, man, it just feels like no matter whatever the year is or what circumstances are going against them, the Chiefs always have Buffalo's number, and they did it again.
Yeah, they did it again, and they ripped their hearts out. Every time that they've beaten them, it's really just been a heartbreaker. I couldn't imagine being a Bills fan, but also, I don't envy them. And honestly, I'm laughing at them. I saw the Bills fans crying after that game. The camera showed the Bills fans in the stands just, heartbroken. We lost to the Chiefs again. And it just feels like Josh Allen, for as great of a quarterback as he is, his career is just going to be snake bitten because he plays in the Patrick Mahomes era. It just is what it is. It's impossible for him to beat Patrick Mahomes because Josh Allen played another really good game for Buffalo tonight. This loss is not on Josh Allen. This is on really anything but. And I mean, we talked about, Michael, in our preview that for the Chiefs to win this game, the offense is simply going to have to step up. That's what it's going to take because we know that the defense is going to show up. That's what we said. We said that the defense was going to show up. The defense did not show up tonight. And you could just kind of get that feeling, oh, man, if this turns into a shootout, we probably got zero chance because this offense just isn't capable of a shootout. But the offense somehow, even though they didn't show it in any of the 19 other games or 19 other weeks of football, that they could do this. They went out there and they did it. They put up 27 points. And really, like I said, if not for that McCole Hardman fumble, this is a double-digit win. The Chiefs run away with this game. They had this game won, and it's crazy because there was a point in the game where the Chiefs had scored on like 3 or 4 straight drives. And then on the 2 biggest ones that they had, the one following the Buffalo failed fake punt, and we'll talk about that too because I got some thoughts on that. On that one, that they had the McCole Hardman fumble, and then after that, they forced the Bills to punt and then just pissed down their leg. And it's like, damn, man, like the situational football continues to be the Achilles heel of this team. It's like the offense can just be clicking, but when they have a chance to really take control of the game, they don't want to do it. They don't want to take the game. They want to make it close. It's like, God damn it, man. Why do they always do this? They had a chance to win by double digits. They should have ran away with this game. They didn't, but luckily because of the wind, the Chiefs are heading to the AFC Championship game.
It just feels like, man, this Chiefs team is playing their best football at the right time. And I mean, Josh, how many times do we get on during the regular season and talk about how this team could not score more than 15 to 20 points?
Hey, hold on. I'll stop you right there. What did we say was the magic number?
25.
24, 25. The Bills scored 24. 25 points wins you this game. That's all you needed. And they got it. And they won.
Even a day where the Chiefs defense wasn't good, the magic number is still 25.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Chiefs can score 25 points, they're more than likely going to win the football game. And that's what they've done in the back-to-back weeks in the postseason. But, Josh, it just feels like this team is starting to click at the right time. You're 2 games away from winning the Super Bowl. Like that's crazy that we're talking about this when right now Mahomes is doing this with Uber drivers as his wide receivers. Like this is insane. And honestly, we can't take this for granted. But, man, this game was so odd because it felt like the Chiefs were moving the ball effortlessly on offense, but they still had their problems cashing in the end zone a couple times where it just would have really been, it would have been able to put this game away if you were a Chiefs fan, and they couldn't do it. And so, again, this offense isn't going to be perfect, but over the past 2 weeks, they've shown that, okay, they are good enough to get it done in the playoffs. And this might be a hot take. Since you beat Buffalo in the divisional round, you're going to your 6th consecutive AFC Championship game. Everything after that is just cherry on top of the cake. Like, you don't even have to do anything else for me to be happy because the expectations going into this postseason for me were rock bottom, and they've already won 2 playoff games. So anything else is a plus. I think that right now they're playing with house money. And again, Josh, last night we talked about how all the pressure was on the Buffalo Bills in this football game. Going into Baltimore, none of the pressure's on the Chiefs. It's all on Baltimore.
Right. Yeah, no, the Chiefs are playing with house money, like you said, and it just feels like I compared it last night when we did our preview to like the 2015 Denver Broncos or the 2018 Patriots, where it's just the Chiefs, they're experienced, they're seasoned with playoff experience, and they have the great quarterback, and now they have a really good defense. Patrick Mahomes has never had a defense this good, and it wasn't even very good tonight, and they were still able to pull out the win. And even if Bass misses the kick, they still had like a minute 45 on the clock, and the Chiefs had 2 timeouts, so I still would have felt all right. But still, I mean, I'll take the missed kick. Don't get me wrong, but it just felt like that the Chiefs were going to come out on top in this one. Now, had they not, I would have been pissed at McCole Hardman. Just inexcusable. I'll hop on that real quick on that soapbox because, my God, Andy Reid, he deserved to be grilled had they lost this game for that. He probably still should be grilled because giving McCole Hardman the ball there, you just can't do it. Everyone always gives Andy Reid a bunch of credit, including myself sometimes, when it comes to giving players second chances. And that can mean a multitude of things. But, Andy Reid is always praised for giving players second chances, even after screwing up. McCole Hardman had fumbled earlier in the game. But McCole Hardman is the argument against not giving bad players second chances because you just got to learn your lesson at some point that McCole Hardman is not it. And I actually pulled up, Michael, the video that we did when the Chiefs traded for McCole Hardman earlier this year. People were in our comments saying, y'all better stop acting like McCole wasn't carrying the offense when Tyreek got hurt last year or against the Niners. You're clowns, LOL. Chiefs could get prime Randy Moss, and you Chiefs fans would complain. It's like, did you not watch McCole Hardman for the last 4 or 5 years? He's a failed wide receiver. He is not good. Why do we keep doing this with him? He almost ended. McCole Hardman is also the reason that this game was not played in Kansas City. I mean, just stop with the McCole Hardman experience. It's over. Knock it off. I wouldn't mind if he was cut after this game. It just has to stop with McCole Hardman. He can't be a part of the rotation because he just doesn't give you anything. I'd probably even rather have Sky Moore out there. Yeah, twice, 2 touches and 2 fumbles. I'd probably rather have Sky Moore out there because even though Sky Moore is not going to do anything, he's not going to be a negative. McCole Hardman's a negative, and he has been all year long. This game is played in Kansas City, if not for McCole Hardman.
Yeah, and that sucks, man. I wanted Houston to beat Baltimore so bad so we could have this game at home, but
yeah,
I do think that the Chiefs have all of the talent in the world to go up to Baltimore and shock the world again. But I do want to give some props to MVS. MVS made a couple really big catches in this game when I did not think he was capable of doing that. And so it's kind of funny that we're seeing a complete 180 from what this team was like in the regular season. You have MVS making one-handed catches and deep down the field. And Travis Kelce on top of the ball. Like, what is going on?
Kelsey's turning back the clock. MVS is Moss and Bills defenders. Like, what is happening? Where was this offense for the past 19 weeks? It's incredible. They averaged the Chiefs 7.7 yards per play. That is insane. And I thought they threw it up on the screen like during the third quarter. They were averaging like 9 yards a play. Like, I don't know if people understand how insane that is. Now, the third down efficiency could have been a little bit better, but they were killing the Bills so much on first and second down that they were hardly ever in third down. They only had 5 third down attempts tonight. The time of possession, the Bills had the advantage there, but the Chiefs were just so efficient on their possessions that they were able to win this. And Patrick Mahomes just masterful against the Bills defense. His stat line doesn't really show you a prolific game, but it doesn't tell the whole story. Patrick Mahomes, and when the defense started struggling early, the camera panned over to Patrick Mahomes on the bench, and he just kind of had that look that you knew that he knew he was going to have to carry the team again against the Bills. And that's what he did.
Dude, having 15 on your team, it is the ultimate equalizer. Like, when you have him, nothing else matters. And somehow, some way, in a year that just seemed so unlikely that they'd even win a playoff game, they're back in the AFC Championship game, 1 game away from going to the Super Bowl.
With a real chance to win it. A real chance to win it. This isn't, this isn't some team making a miracle run. This isn't if the Houston Texans made it to an AFC Championship game. This is, the Ravens are absolutely terrified right now that they drew Kansas City. They wanted Buffalo to win this game.
Oh, yeah. Lamar does not want anything to do with Patrick Mahomes. He has not been able to beat – I think he's beaten him once.
It was on the Clyde fumble. Yeah.
Yeah. That was it. And our defense is way better than it has been in the past. So I feel really good going into that game. Granted, a lot of stuff could happen, and hopefully our offense shows up. But, man, it just seems like right now, in previous years, the Chiefs' offense has been lights out, and they've been carrying this team. And it just seemed like, okay, we just need the defense to step up and make a couple stops. Your defense being so good this year, it's the inverse. You just need your offense to step up and make some plays. And that is exactly what they've done in the past 2 weeks. And I think they're going to continue that trend. They're going to go to Baltimore. They're going to be hungry. And, man, they're 1 game away from going back.
Yeah, and the Super Bowl is wide open because we talked about how the Lions don't really scare you. The 49ers, I feel like we could take them again. I feel like that one will definitely be a defensive chess match if that's the matchup that we get. But again, you have Patrick Mahomes, and you mentioned it last night. The team with the better quarterback usually comes out on top. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes over Brock Purdy if that's what we get. But we'll talk about that later down the line. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I want to address this comment. He says that punk fake was terrible. I see the Chiefs special teams coach did some type of sign his hands. They already knew it was fake. Yeah. So the way that they played that, it definitely felt like they were expecting the fake punt because everyone that was up at the line immediately shifted to the right. It's like they knew it was coming. They gang tackled him. I think it was Damar Hamlin was the one who got the fake punt.
It was.
Yeah. I don't know what Sean, and he's not going to get enough heat for that either because that's not really what lost them the game, and they got the ball back after the McCole fumble. But all the focus is going to be on Tyler Bass now, the Bills kicker, for missing that game-tying field goal. However, I was going to say, if not for that, all the heat would be on Sean McDermott for calling that fake punt in that spot of the game. I mean, Bills fans would have been irate if we had gone down and scored and ended up winning the game in that fashion. But Tyler Bass, sorry, bud, you're getting all the heat for this one.
Well, and what's funny is before Tyler Bass attempted that field goal, listen, I'm not going to say some LeBron type stuff like I knew he was going to miss it, but I do remember in that game against Pittsburgh, he got hurt. His like hamstring got banged up, or he got like bent backwards, or he had some lower leg injury. And so that kind of was going through my mind when he lined up to kick that field goal. And I don't think
I thought that was their punter. I thought that was their punter. Was it Tyler Bass?
It might have been. Maybe I'm getting them confused, but
I do think though that Bass had to punt in place of him though. I think that's what happened. So he did have to exert more energy last week, but I'm pretty sure it was their punter.
I just had some weird feeling that he was going to miss it, and he shanked it right. Like listen, man, in order to win a Super Bowl, you have to get extremely lucky in some cases. The Chiefs got very lucky tonight.
Yeah, but at the same time, the Bills got extremely lucky. I will stand by the fact that this team wins this game by double digits if McCole Hardman just doesn't get the ball. I mean, Pacheco was just gashing them. Even Rashee Rice with the ball in his hands. I'm pretty sure that play that was from McCole Hardman there at the goal line, essentially what happened, it was a fake that was set up for McCole. I think they initially, I can't remember if it was Pacheco or if it was Rashee Rice that they faked the pitch to and then gave it to McCole. But I remember audibly saying, no, when I saw that they were giving it to McCole. And then, of course, he goes and fumbles. And then for the field goal, too, I was watching with my wife, and I'm like, if he misses this game is over. And I feel like he has a good chance of missing. I mean, this is 45 yards. It's windy. It's cold. Like, I don't think it's a layup that he makes this. And then, of course, he missed. And I started laughing. I just laughed. I'm like, wow, this is how they're going to lose. Just insane. And we talked about how razor thin that line is between the Bills. What are they going to do if they win this game versus if they lose? Had they won this game, it would have felt like a huge relief. It would have felt like the monkey is off their back. It would have felt like it was a step in the right direction for them. Now that they lost this and they're 0-3 versus Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, feels like a lot of organizational changes are coming for them this offseason.
It almost has to. Like, if you're the Bills front office, you can't be feeling very good about your job. Sean McDermott can't beat Patrick Mahomes, and outside of a couple, measly wild card wins and maybe a divisional win, he hasn't done anything. And he can't beat the big bad wolf in the AFC that is the Kansas City Chiefs. Even Joe Burrow and the Bengals have done something in the AFC, and Josh Allen hasn't. And so
they've been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, like if you're Joe Burrow, listen, he might not have had the same success that he wishes he had in years prior, but like he's been to a Super Bowl. Josh Allen has done nothing, and I can't remember who said it. It might have been a buddy of mine. He goes, "Josh Allen is our generation's Phillip Rivers, and until he proves it, that's what he's going to be." So, yeah, man, I think there's going to be some major organizational turnover for the Buffalo Bills, and like we said last night. It just felt like if they couldn't beat the Chiefs this year, when was it ever going to happen?
This was the worst version of the Chiefs in the Patrick Mahomes era, and they still couldn't beat you. They still couldn't win. It's insane. Also, I want to give a shout out to Mark for his comment here. He said he's a Chiefs fan, but enjoys the podcast. Very informative. Appreciate you, Mark. And then the super chat from Isaiah Nees. Isaiah, nice to see you. He's always showing support. Thanks for the super chat. He says, oh man, I couldn't stop laughing like crazy when DeMar Hamlin was the one who did that stupid fake and Tyler Bass missing the field goal. Yeah, just comical from the Bills, man. Just a terrible way to lose that football game, especially with how well Josh Allen was playing. He was only 26 of 39 for 186 yards and 1 touchdown. Like, Josh Allen didn't kill them, but on the ground is really where he did a lot of the damage. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, 12 carries for 72 yards. And, I mean, probably his best play of the game. I think it was like 3rd and 9 or something like that in the red zone. And he somehow gets it to Khalil Shakir in the bottom left corner of the end zone. And it was the classic, typical announcer jinx. They were talking about L'Jarius Sneed and how he hadn't given up a single touchdown all year. And then, like clockwork, L'Jarius Sneed gives up a touchdown to Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So I got on Twitter. I just saw that according to Adam Schefter, Joe Thuney's going to undergo an MRI for a pec injury.
I saw that. I was going to get to the injuries. Yeah, that one's a big concern. That's the biggest injury. Joe Thuney, Andy Reid called it a pec injury. Usually, when you hear pec injury, it's not great. I'm thinking torn pec. I hope it's not, but that's what I'm thinking. The other 2 injuries were Mike Edwards with a concussion. I feel pretty good that Mike Edwards can clear a concussion protocol by their next game. Getting him back would be nice. And then Willie Gay went out with a neck injury. He came into this game questionable with a neck injury, but I was on Twitter before we started going live, and I saw that Willie Gay went on his personal Twitter account and said he'd be good by next Sunday. Or game day. I don't remember if the Chiefs play on Saturday or Sunday or not, but you get the point.
Yeah, I mean, though, you got to feel pretty good. The Ravens have some injuries as well. So it's going to be a good game regardless, but man, Joe Thuney would be a pretty big loss for this team. And just what he brings on the interior. But Josh, I did
if you're going to lose I was going to say, if we're going to lose a player to injury, your left guard is one and Joe Thuney is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but you got Nick Allegretti. The Chiefs kind of view him as their 6th starter. He's the next offensive lineman up. I feel like he can step in and play quality snaps for you if Joe Thuney does have a torn pec. And even then, I don't know what Wanye Morris's injury status is, but he could probably play some guard. You have options there. So Joe Thuney, if he is out, unfortunate, but hey, this is football. It's next man up.
Yeah, it would definitely suck, but I mean, it's better to lose an interior lineman than it is like a tackle.
John Jansen makes a nice correction. He says both games are on Sunday. I think you're right. I was thinking of the divisional weekend setup. It's either morning or evening game, or not morning, but afternoon or late evening.
We're the afternoon.
That's what it is. Okay. Yeah, so that clarifies it. But anyway, that was.
Isn't Mahomes pretty good in afternoon AFC Championship games, if I remember? Good.
I'd have to go and look, but I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes. I wouldn't be too concerned either way. I mean, he's playing his best football right now, and yeah, the offense was so good tonight. Pacheco, I feel like we didn't even give him enough love for how good he was tonight. 15 carries, for 97 yards. That's 6.5 yards per carry. And then even CEH, he only got 2 carries, but 31 yards and 2 carries. And he had a really nice run that set up one of our scoring drives in the first half.
Clyde's low-key been kind of balling recently, Josh. I know it hurts us to say this, but in a year where nobody's stepped up, Clyde's actually been like one of the only guys that is playing for his job right now, his football life. And without Clyde, man, he's given you a lot.
Yeah, he's done really well. He's made the most of his touches down the stretch, and he deserves credit for that, especially from me, because I've been one of his biggest haters and doubters over the years. Talking a little bit more about the defensive performance in this game, the Buffalo Bills had 27 first downs. They were 7 of 14 on third down, 368 total yards of offense. I'm pretty sure the Chiefs haven't even given up 300 yards of offense yet this year, except for this game. And then the Chiefs hadn't let an opponent score more than 20 points, I think, in their last 6 games, and then they gave up 24 tonight. They were rough, man. I was really not feeling great early because it's like all year long, the defense had kind of been your margin for error, and it's like, well, here they are giving up 17 points in the first half. If they don't get it figured out, you know, you kind of lose hope because it's like I don't know if you can trust this offense in a shootout. It's not the same offense from the past where they can put up 30 and 40 points. They just hadn't really done it all year, but they've really stepped up tonight, despite the defense having a rough game. And I think the silver lining, if you're a Chiefs fan, despite the rough defensive performance and the injuries, is this was one of the worst games the Chiefs defense has played this year. And I feel like the odds that they played 2 bad defensive games in a row are quite low going into that Baltimore game. So I look for the Chiefs defense to bounce back against Baltimore next week.
Yeah, man. And listen, Baltimore's got a great offense, but Josh Allen always seems to play very well against the Chiefs defense. And I don't want to say Lamar doesn't, but Lamar's also had a lot of trouble against the Chiefs defense. And that was the Chiefs defense of old. So I do think we have the pieces to mitigate what Lamar Jackson brings to the table. And man, it's going to be interesting, but I feel really good right now. I have a weird sense of confidence considering that I didn't think this team was going to win a playoff game in week 15.
Yeah, well, Tony Romo actually brought this up on the broadcast, I believe. He said that the Willie Gay injury was really big for the defense because he thinks their plan coming into the game was to have Willie Gay, QB spy Josh Allen. And so the plan probably would have been similar against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens next week, was to have, whether it was Willie Gay or Tranquil or somebody, spy Lamar Jackson. And so if Willie Gay is good to go, then that probably gives the defense a big boost. The linebackers were really bad tonight. They were just rough. Bolton, Chanel, Tranquil was rough starting out. Tranquil made a few really nice splash plays later in the game. But man, the Chiefs linebackers were just not doing very well. And the D-line too, I should say. The D-line even, like, just getting annihilated up front. Matt Dickerson, the defensive tackle, number 93, I'm telling you, that guy would not be on another NFL team if the Chiefs cut him today.
No.
I really don't know what the Chiefs see in him. I'd rather activate Neil Farrell Jr. instead. I don't understand the infatuation with Matt Dickerson that this coaching staff has. But anyway, yeah, I mean, just rough play from them. I think they'll play a lot better against the Ravens, though. And also, Spags really did put them in some tough positions tonight. I remember there was a play, there's a third down, I believe, where Nick Bolton was covering Stephon Diggs. Like, that's just setting Nick Bolton up for failure. Like, not only is Nick Bolton weaker in coverage, but most linebackers are not going to be able to cover Stephon Diggs. You just can't do it. So just got to clean up the defensive game planning.
I wonder how Stephon Diggs feels right now. I'm sure he's
not. I should mention that he 3 catches for 21 yards in this game. Just and he dropped a big one too late in the game that would have set up the Bills in Chiefs territory. It's like, how many games in a row is Stephon Diggs just going to disappear against the Chiefs? And you can go ahead and add another Stephon Diggs standing picture to that picture that people keep adding on to every year when the Bills lose to the Chiefs in the playoffs. We now have 3 Stephon Diggs watching the Chiefs celebrate after a win.
Yeah. Dude, this Buffalo Bills team beat us at Arrowhead less than a month ago, talked their game, and we went into their house in the postseason and ended their playoff lives. They
can't beat us when it matters. And it's not even just some fake narrative at this point. Like, it's happened 3 times in a row now. You can beat us every time you want in the regular season, but until you beat us in the postseason, no one's going to take you seriously. It's almost kind of like us with the Patriots, for all those years. We had some good games where we beat the Patriots, even embarrassed them, honestly, but we can never beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a different animal when the games really matter. And Patrick Mahomes has a chance to do like a Tom Brady-esque villain thing on Sunday against Baltimore. There's a lot of people around the NFL that do not want to see the Chiefs win this game. And I think probably because they view it as whoever comes out of the AFC is probably going to win the freaking Super Bowl. So they don't want to see Mahomes get a third ring before he turns 30.
Man, if he does that, I'm going to be unbearable on social media. HFA Recon, thank you for the super chat. Thanks for the super chat tonight, guys. Pacheco looked like Isaiah Stewart running through the Bulls defense. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That one clip of Isaiah Stewart of the Pistons just kind of like running over everybody when he was trying to go fight someone. Yeah, he was knocking guys over tonight, especially on that last touchdown that he had. Just mowing dudes over. Pacheco has been so good this postseason. He's really looked like a true number one. And there's a point this year where I didn't know Pacheco could be your true number one because I question his ability to make defenders miss, and maybe you could upgrade there. But Pacheco, he really just has solidified himself as the guy in the running back room this year.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that it's only going to be, heightened by what he does the next two games. Man, if he goes off next week against Baltimore, we're talking about him maybe being one of the best running backs in Chiefs history. If he goes on, I know that sounds crazy, but if he helps us win 2 Super Bowls and kind of puts the team on his back, we're gonna have an interesting conversation about where he ranks all time.
Yeah, and we've had some good running backs, but Pacheco just is. He's a different type of runner than any other running back we've had. You guys hear about how angry he runs, and you see it in the games. And he was awesome last year in the Super Bowl. If we go to the Super Bowl again this year, I'm sure he'll be a big factor in the game. So, yeah, love Pacheco.
It just feels like right now, Josh, this team is playing their best football. And I don't want to say the Ravens aren't playing their best football, but the Ravens haven't had the luxury of playing us this year. And I think they might be a little surprised with this new Chiefs defense. And hopefully we can, maybe pull another miracle off. And like I said, listen, I want the Chiefs to win on Sunday, but after beating Buffalo for the third time in the Josh Allen era, I don't really care what happens next week. If we lose, we lose. This team should have never been in the AFC Championship game. And so right now I'm just enjoying this win. You beat Buffalo. You're sending their fans home crying. It feels pretty good, but I do like their chances next week.
For sure. I just saw this stat on Twitter that I want to read out. So this is from Josh Dubo. I think I'm saying that right on Twitter. He says, record when trailing by 7+ points in the playoffs in the last 5 seasons. Patrick Mahomes is 8-1 when trailing by 7 or more points in the postseason. The rest of the NFL, 11-53. That is just crazy.
Don't bet against him, man. He's
well, speaking of betting against Patrick Mahomes, there was a ton of that this week. Again, why do these people keep doing it? They're just setting themselves up. Good Morning Football, 3 out of 4 of them picked the Bills in this game. Jason McIntyre went on Colin Cowherd's show and said Mahomes was the 7th best quarterback in the playoffs this year. Dan Orlovsky had Mahomes behind Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson heading into this game. You had the Bills offensive tackle Deion Dawkins talking about how Patrick Mahomes has never been to the Bills Stadium in the playoffs. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
The Chiefs are inevitable, man. They're going to get you. And the Bills got it again. The Bills got it again.
Nathan Barnes says that the acceleration by Rashee Rice on that screen was crazy, like Tyreek Hill level of acceleration. Go back and look at his RAS score, guys, from the draft. He had an elite 10-yard split. The first 10 yards, that's where Rashee Rice really wins. That's where he really just is elite. The acceleration. It's like he catches the ball and then he's already past you. It's insane. I always knew he was capable of that. That's why I was really excited about him. And that's what's made him such a weapon so far, is because once he has the ball in his hands, he can really do some damage. I love watching Rashee Rice. And yeah, that screen that he had today, even, it looked like it was going to go for a loss. And then he just turns upfield in an instant. It's just, he's really good.
Josh, I'll tell you what, the Chiefs better not mess around and win the Super Bowl this year. They better not win it, because I'll tell you what, now we know the wide receiver problems. And listen, we have some defensive additions in the offseason that we're going to have to make and some tough contracts that, we're going to have to decide to give. But, man, this team has a chance to get even better in the offseason. We were already looking ahead to the offseason in like week 18. So,
Yeah.
I mean, don't let this team win a Super Bowl, because if they do that, man, it's just the league won't be ready.
Yeah, and I see a lot of Chiefs players, Charles Omenihu, Donovan Smith, tweeting, guys like that. I just love seeing that when these players that have never really tasted this kind of success before come over to the Chiefs. Now, granted, Donovan Smith has won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, and Charles Omenihu went to back-to-back NFC championship games with the 49ers. But, this culture is just different. The expectations are different. And these guys are starting to see it that we're newcomers to this organization over the offseason. I just love seeing that. Also, Adam Schefter tweets this because I think we'll kind of talk about this before we wrap it up. But the Bills, where do they go from here? You lost to the Chiefs again. You were all in the past couple of years. You brought in Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, all these different guys. Adam Schefter tweets out Bills key free agents this offseason: AJ Epineza, Taylor Rapp, Daquan Jones, Jordan Phillips, Poona Ford, Linval Joseph, Shaq Lawson, Latavius Murray, Ty Johnson, Damian Harris. Those are just some of their big free agents this offseason, some bigger than others, of course. But I mean, not only do they have that to worry about, but Sean McDermott, what is the temperature with him? Where is that at right now? Is he on the hot seat? Do you have to make a change to get over the hump? Or do the Bills just kind of say, hey, we'll try again next year? It's just we lost to the greatest quarterback in NFL history, and it is what it is. Nathan Barnes also says to look at Drew Tranquil's tweet. Drew Tranquil's another one too, I should mention before I even look at the tweet, that just, he talked about how he was really excited about coming to Kansas City because he never really got to win with the Chargers. He's finally getting a taste of that postseason success. He loves being in this moment. He loves the opportunity. So yeah, I love Drew Tranquil. But anyway, Michael, thoughts on the Bills, where they go from here?
The Bills are in trouble, man. And I felt like the Bills were in trouble after last year. And man, I think the Bills are a prime example of a team that went all in, put all of the necessary resources around Josh Allen, and he just wasn't good enough to beat Patrick Mahomes. Like, at the end of the day, there's really nothing the Buffalo Bills could have done. They should have won that game with 13 seconds left to play, and they didn't. And so that was probably their best chance to win the Super Bowl, and they let it go to waste. And so if you're Buffalo, man, they're going to have a lot of contract stuff. Von Miller's deal is ridiculous. They're not going to probably let him play that out. He's probably going to get cut and restructured, or, he might retire. But
yeah, I was going to say he might retire. He might be done.
Yeah. They're going to have a lot of roster overhaul and turnover at the coaching staff. I think, listen, like you said last night, if you have to fire both your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator, your head coach has got to be close to being on his way out if you can't win. And
yeah,
Sean McDermott's got his own weird stuff going on, if you've paid attention to that at all this season, with some interesting comments being made a couple years ago. But I think, Josh Allen is a prime example of a guy that has had the talent and just has not been able to overcome the big bad wolf that is the Kansas City Chiefs. And so I think you kind of have to start from scratch. I know that sounds horrible, but they're going to have to get a lot more younger guys in there that can reload for the next decade, because the Chiefs, by trading away Tyreek Hill and making savvy moves, have positioned themselves to be in this position for the next 10 years. And it's not going to get any easier to beat the Chiefs. And so they're going to have to do a lot of turnover and overhauling. And even then, it's not a guarantee that they can win.
Yeah. It just feels like if they were maybe in the NFC, they could have a title by now. It's just, you have to go up against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce, and most of the time it just doesn't work out for you. It'll be interesting to see what they do. You made a really good point. I also talked about it last night on the preview. It's like they already fired their offensive coordinator. They fired their defensive coordinator, Leslie Frazier, last year. And once you fire your coordinators and you're still not succeeding, the head coach's job starts to come into question. That's just how it works. So it'll be an interesting offseason in Buffalo and to see what they do.
Yeah, and man, I would not want to be a Buffalo Bills fan right now. The future is very bright for Kansas City, and right now, I mean, man, you gave it your best shot for the last 5 years, and it wasn't good enough. And so that's a tough pill to swallow when even your best isn't good enough.
Yeah. This was their chance. This was their shot, and they blew it. I mean, and they had a lot of luck go their way tonight too. Even to start the game, Josh Allen very clearly threw a forward pass after he had crossed the line of scrimmage. Andy Reid didn't challenge it, which, by the way, because I think he would have won the challenge. It was close, but I think he would have won the challenge. I don't know why after the Tyreek Hill touchdown debacle from a couple years ago where Tyreek Hill caught a touchdown and then the Chiefs missed it. I don't know why even after that there was not someone on staff specifically that's like, hey, Andy, you should challenge this. I just, somewhat like some sort of replay team or something. I don't understand how that continues to happen. That was inexcusable. Then you had the McCole Hardman fumble. The Chiefs got a first down after pass interference on Rashee Rice in the fourth quarter, and then the Bills still got to stop. They had their chance to win. They had so many opportunities, man. They had a lot of luck go their way tonight too. All the fumbles bouncing their way, most of them, I should say, and they still couldn't pull it off. And this is probably the worst you're going to see the Chiefs in the Patrick Mahomes era for some time.
You still couldn't beat us, so that's not very good for Buffalo, but great for us. And man, we survive and advance to play another week of football, and that is a very exciting thing.
Yeah, it'll be fun, man. We get to talk about this team for another week. We get to watch them play football. I mean, we're going to talk about them no matter what, but it's just fun that the season is still alive. This isn't our last post-game show of the season, and there's a lot more to talk about. There's a lot more to look forward to, but we'll go ahead and wrap it up there, Michael. But before we do that, why don't you go ahead and let everyone know where they can find you?
You guys can find me on YouTube at KC Sports Report, on Instagram and Twitter at @TheMichaelDarcy. Go check out my stuff on the Bleacher Report mobile app. My @ is @Michael_Darcy. And that's all, guys.
Yeah, so you guys make sure you go ahead and do that. I will put that all in the description down below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. You can check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com. And we will see you all in the next one. Go Chiefs!